Good. Called the Finance Committee meeting on March 28th to order, but first, so I don't get my hand slapped, this meeting is being recorded. The listing of matters are those reasonably anticipated by the chair which may be discussed at the meeting. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed. Other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. For a roll call, I'm going to start with the person on Zoom.
Robert Rendon, present.
Peter Roach, present.
Susan Lorenz, present.
David Carpenter, present.
Kevin Ferry, present.
Jacob Stebbins, present. And we'll turn it over to.
Good evening and welcome to the joint meeting of the Dayton Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee. At this time, I would like to call the roll for the Board of Selectmen.
Kathy Jacobs, present.
Peter Karen, present.
And Chairman Leonard Hull is present. Could we stand for a moment for the pledge of allegiance to the flag?
Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No family Bible.
What was that?
No family Bible.
I know.
Table.
We'll jump right into highway.
That is, what do we do? Page 15. Or 14, yes.
Before we start, there's a couple of accounts that are bolded. Is that for any reason?
On the budget?
Yeah, 5870, 5530, 5480.
Yeah, I don't do, yeah, we don't see the bold.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you work out to Google Doc?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, jeez. I'll pull it up, so.
It doesn't look like there's any reason, but.
No, that was, yeah, that was probably just something I was looking into, but they're all settled now.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No. I'm gonna take us through your highlights.
Prepared something, yes. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Our department, like all others, had some challenges reviewing our budget to the zero base. Probably not as much as some, but we are pretty close, I believe, even though we had more than 50 hours in preparing for these budgets. We should have an easier time next year putting this together. Our budget historically has been pretty close to zero base, so it wasn't too hard to come to what's presented. It was just the finer details that were needed to be prepared that is presented tonight. So jumping into 422, because I have four of them to go over with you this evening. We are proposing the assistant hours to be increased to 35 hours. This should be reflected with her own line coming out of the part-time line. This will be helpful for tracking and budgeting moving forward. This line or person is currently split between the 432, also with 422. 5107, the part-time line, that should remain. That dollar amount is to be determined with me and Mike, working with the union currently. 5310, engineering and surveying. This is a new line for 422, but this was moved from 432. We did leave a professional technical line in the 432 if we needed to touch that. This will give us the ability to resolve problems as they arise with both budgets. As we know, both budgets, they run parallel similarly, but are separate and different. Moving one of these lines makes sense. Some other internal housekeeping, we will be removing lines 5155, 5210, 5230, 5250, and 5460. The following lines will remain, but with a zero balance, because we use those lines. They'll remain because we don't have a solid number for zero base, like 5270, the rental and leases, 5850, additional equipment, if we break something like a chainsaw, 5870, replacement of equipment. Historically, they were 5,000 each, but with our current policy, that was based with our current policy not to exceed 5,000. Each resolves the operational problems as they arise. I still do have a question, with those type of lines that we have to use, but you gotta put a zero in it, a zero base. I'm sure you guys are planning on a way to tap into that without, assembling the whole posse to tap into some minor expense. But I'm sure that's gonna come. And lastly, for the 422, on the zero base backup sheets down the 425 to 40, 10 out of 12. We show buying bulk as we do for the oils. We also show per truck down to the ounce with the dollar value. So technically we're buying oil twice, increasing dollar value on the worksheets, but it is shown correctly on the actual budget request currently. So is there any questions on the 422?
So 5240 is maintenance and oil?
That's the, yes. Yes, that's what he said. There's two lines that hits the vehicle. One's to repair them as they break, the other one's a routine maintenance one.
What would you suggest that they do, or, for the lines that he's putting zeros in, but we know that he's doing repairs, right? Is there a cost average over the last 3 or 5 years for those, equipment repairs, like replacement equipment, like 5870, things like that we could, make sure that we're budgeting appropriately for you?
Historically, no, because that's an unknown. I mean, could be chainsaw this year, it could be weed whacker, could be nothing. That's the nice thing about the zero base. You take a closer look at stuff like that.
Mr. Ferry, regarding traffic controls, I noticed there was a significant reduction from fiscal year '23 with the Main Street project phasing over to the highway, $1,000,
So the traffic control line that's used to buy signs.
just the signs.
Right, that was increased because we were non-compliant on a lot of the signs. If you notice the signs, the backing, reflectivity changed. And we were going through a several-year process of replacing them. So we're pretty much caught up on that. The 1,000 should take care of what's remaining in the unknown, accidents with uninsured drivers and all that.
Now that 30,000 then for off-duty police details, that would cover any work the highway department would be doing.
Anytime we're on a road, we use a detail, yeah.
Now, it was the same as the previous year. Are you anticipating no increase in the amount of work projects, especially with Main Street coming down the pipe?
So this year, the work we're gonna be doing should hit the stormwater, because that's drainage this year.
Oh, okay.
And then that other line reflects all the other work we do, including tree work.
Thank you.
So Tom, you have a police detail for every road opening or?
Anytime we're taking up a lane, we're required to have a police detail. Depending on the situation, it could be 2 for that one job.
Yeah.
And it's an unknown, depending on how many stripes they're wearing is what they're getting paid.
So it's just a lane closure that you have details? Right, not, it's only when the traffic is impaired?
It depends.
Okay.
It's actually up to the officer in charge, that shift can determine, we're working on his shoulder. He can determine how many details, and also if it's a road closure, they'll decide whether or not they need a detail in each end.
Okay,
So it's not I don't get to make that decision.
right.
Well, Williams, yesterday, you guys were on doing drainage, but they had a portion of the lane cut off, so it was a detail.
Detail.
Yeah.
And I know we talked about the assistant, but do you wanna talk about it? You and I have talked, but I don't know if the finance committee has.
Yeah, so my assistant right now is 20 hours, still benefited. Not quite getting the normal details down. We also considering more duties along with the stormwater. You're gonna hear more about that tonight, I believe. A lot of that is gonna hit our department, so we need her for those hours alone. And we're also maybe entertaining the transfer station operations also. So there's gonna be a lot happening through our office, and I'll definitely need her assistance in that.
Should go up to 30 or 35?
35.
So would that line item then move to consider her full-time at 35, if she moves to 35?
Yes, but she's already got the benefits, so it already goes increasing the hours.
And you're just keeping 5107 just because it's a separate line.
I believe that's an accountant line. She would be assigning a new number for that.
Yep, it'll be moved from part-time. I'm either gonna change the description to keep the history or open up a new line.
How much of her time is on your, well, is on 422 versus 432?
I split it, when I did it, 13% to the stormwater. So we've gone back and forth with exactly where that split is gonna fall. So I currently did 13%, and then, if we need to, we might just have to do a departmental budget at the end of the year if I put too much in the 422 budget.
But for this year, it's figuring that the 432 and the 422 added together to equal the yearly balance. There's not an increase in health, shouldn't be nothing left over.
So to follow up on Selectman Hull's question, between the two committee departments, we got 50 in details, that's, with everything going on, that's enough. Depending on who gets out there and who.
Right, that's an unknown. And regardless whether we're there or not, if it's a chapter 90 project, and we have a contractor there, the chapter 90 does not cover police details, so we still want to hook for that.
Do you guys have gas right now, gas and diesel?
Yes.
For right now, 9 months into the year?
I don't know if Serena has that, we're in negative now, I'm not sure how far, we're past 4,000 in negative.
Yeah, I was gonna say 5, maybe 8.
Yeah,
8,000
we still haven't
negative.
finished the year yet. So we're almost, we're in April, might as well say we're in April. I usually deplete, I have 500 gallons of each at the garage, I'll deplete them to refresh them, so I'll be push it closer to June. The problem is we want to hit it this year, we want to fill the empty tanks next year. Yeah, I like to deplete them twice a year, so it's fresh fuel.
So you're probably gonna be at about 27 for the year, for the current year?
Yes. But that fuel prices could go way down.
They have dropped substantially since this budget was done.
Hopefully they keep going. Public work supplies, Tom, what are we, dropping the traffic control, but these are, what's that line, 5530?
What is it used for?
Yeah.
So that buys the materials for the things that we're doing, gravel, loom. That covers some of the lines that does go in red. But that's mainly where your materials come from, that's where it mainly gets that. Yeah, I believe that this year I took a beating also.
FY 22 as well.
Yeah, and, yeah, all our dirt roads, because of the type of winter, the dirt roads never froze, even, good amount of them are not really public roads, but we gotta keep them in somewhat usable condition. So that we do need to entertain buying gravel, either late this spring or early summer next fiscal one year. That's another good example. If they froze, yeah, if we had more people wishing for freezing temperatures, they wouldn't be in the conditions they were at.
Any questions on 422?
So it's, okay,
I have one question, the drop in communication.
yes, that, because it really should be the 50s line, because that's, you're talking about the line that's being dropped?
Yes, 40, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one that was two account ago, one account ago, we put it there, but that's really filling, it's up in the 50s line, that's case for the cell phones,
Okay,
for my employees.
why is there such a big increase in that? Oh, that's a drop, in you're moving it, yep, sorry.
So 423 is next?
Yeah.
That should be straightforward. This doesn't really reflect zero base. Everyone in this room, or every board and committee in my department in this room collectively came to that number. So we don't assess the taxpayers. So that's a good number to keep at. It's not an actual number that's being spent, but it works for the budget.
Any questions on somebody?
Okay, 432.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not keeping up. Holy moly. Just find me.
No, we haven't beaten you up yet. So 432 is similar of 422. We need a new line to show his assistant, we already discussed that. She plays a big role in that. I believe the part-time line should remain, again, that dollar value we determined shortly. I did find a small math problem. I think we're 74 cents off on that part-time line, the current line now, but that's under negotiations anyways.
Right.
Yeah, so. Also like 422 lines 5270, 5850, and 5870, the rental line, additional equipment and replacement equipment, those we zeroed out. And it's also zeroed out, I believe the line will be removed, the engineering consultant, that's the one that we moved to 422.
Yeah.
$53.15, the contractual disposal at a, pretty big jump. Is that just, cost increase from Mr. Levin, is like a?
Yes, it's a new contract. And on top of that, we need to entertain a vacuum truck because we have some systems that have not been vacuumed. That is currently out to bid through Cersys, the consortium we're in. So that number, did we say with 10,000 that, did we bring that one down?
We,
Is that 35?
35, yeah, so we're only asking for 5 for that vacuum, and that's an unknown number. After we get them in town, we'll have a solid number.
That's
That's what the cost of last week.
We have some underground infiltration systems with that, like a vortex chamber, and the only way to retrieve that stuff is to vacuum it out. And again, we wouldn't want that disposal in town, we want to dispose out of town.
Mr. Ferry.
Yes, sir.
You have a 50% increase in off-duty police details. Street cleaning, stormwater.
Yes, that's what I mentioned earlier. So when we, or whoever does the drainage work on Main Street, that's what you'll be in.
Thank you.
more of a curiosity question, but, so when you're working on Main Street and you've got the drainage part and the roof, the road part, you guys, you have, between you and Serena, you're breaking that cost out, allocating the cost between.
Oh, we're working on that cost. That cost, we don't know that cost is yet. The materials, you might have saw some numbers for materials, but it's still to be determined how that's gonna happen. That's just for materials. And I believe the gravel number might be low.
and just really to expound on that, so, capital outlay met us Tuesday morning, or Monday morning, I can't remember what morning it was, is that relevant? The capital outlay is reconvening on the FY '24 capital request next Tuesday morning. And we're working internally between now and then to, there is a capital request to do the drainage on Main Street, but we want to see the full picture of what it will cost to do Main Street in the entirety, so we know how all of those, all the costs with the application of chapter 90 in there as well, so we have a real true cost, so, and based on that, there will be capital costs to the town, and we just wanna really plan that out at the outset. So going in to the capital planning process for '24 and again for the warrant article process as well, we can have all that informed together.
I have a question on 5315. Looks like the town account had 25,020, and Tom, you come in at 35,020. Is there something there that we know that hasn't been brought to light? Is there a reason why there's a $10,000 difference between that?
Where are you again?
Line 5315.
Yes, that's,
The contractual.
that question's already asked, that was for catch basin cleans,
Did I miss that?
yes.
What was the answer?
There's a new contract for the.
No, I heard that.
Yes, that's what that is, and plus additional 5,000 on top of that, because we need a vacuum truck also, and that's out for bid at this time, so that's an unknown number.
Okay, and somebody else wasn't aware of that.
So,
That's what I'm asking.
yeah, to clarify the town, so last week Serena, we, actually passed out updated forms, the original request
Okay.
was 25,000. What
Okay.
happened between now and then was, the bids were finalized.
Yeah.
Through Sursage, which represented a $10,000 increase.
Yeah.
So once we had that information, we updated,
Okay.
the budget expense number accordingly.
Yeah, all right, no problem. Sorry. Thank you.
That was actually an easy question, that's good.
Well, I didn't know, I didn't realize I missed it, so. Thank you.
And I believe, the Google Doc as well, the true updated number, at 3520, has been updated to show the updated departmental request as well.
Yeah, I understand now, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, on those individual tabs.
Yeah, you guys shouldn't rely on my recommendation anyways.
That's why I asked.
So, would the 435 be out of order, or should I wait for that?
Is transfer station.
It's,
Should the parent budget go first with that?
I know, I think if you're here, Tom, you'll think everyone enjoys hearing from you.
Any other questions on 433? 433, 432. I jumped ahead, 432. More questions on 432?
35?
Jump away, Tom.
Okay. So 435 is a new budget being created. It's the actual operating budget of the transfer station. It's missing a component only because of the contractual we have with the current vendor for just trucking, mainly the recycling part. Because the recycling that comes out of the transfer station is really tucked into the current budget. That would be a hard one to separate. The top figure is gonna be the attendant, and that one we're still working on with Mr. Mullen. That one should be a good number though.
Mhm.
And the rest of the numbers are pretty, they're there with your zero backup also. So I guess the best thing to do is for me to just be quiet and entertain any questions.
Oh,
This all used to be in the trash.
435 is probably updated on.
Did this all used to be in the trash budget?
In the contract, yes, yes. So we already do the transfer station, as we've done before, like, we didn't do the actual operating budget, do the daily operation stuff. So what's not really clear, you see 5303, the transfer station recyclables, it made sense, that number there is reflecting just the mattresses. And that's a historic number that we're basing on, with the current prices,
5303.
yes. So everything else is pretty self-explanatory. I just wanted to make that one clear. That includes the rental on the shipping container we have, the housing, keep them under weather. And if we have to reject, if we have to pay for a rejected mattress disposal, that's all working here.
I have a question. Count 433. The $40,000 for trash bags, is that after the fee that people pay to buy them?
I'm not, that's not mine, that's after me.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought that was part of the.
No.
You want me to answer the question? The $40,000 is the amount to buy the trash bags for the year.
Mhm.
The receipts that we receive show up in local receipts.
Oh, so it goes for
Right.
Thank you.
So the 5303, I guess, just to stay on that, the mattresses, looks like historically FY '22 was about 87, 87 grand, but you were only requesting 11 for FY '24.
Right, because that line is being used, that number that you just said was recyclables for the town curbside pickup.
Gotcha,
That's not a true number.
gotcha. Okay, so that's the reason for the massive increase is reallocated.
So we're just using for account purposes the 5303.
Appreciate that, thank you.
A lot of that used to be in 433. All of them.
Serena would speak up if I was wrong, right?
No, that's right. Yeah, we just separated out from 433, so the history looks a little.
I was just like, did everybody already order their mattresses?
Yeah, like one of the things, when we like saw that as well, like we actually like, so yeah, like we actually reconvened internally to make sure the numbers still worked and added up and reconciled, because I saw that and how it appears. Like I almost had a mini heart attack as well. So like we brought everyone back together and just made sure everything reconciled.
Serena, do you know off the top of your head, local receipts from the transfer stations?
No.
It's around, oh, just the transfer station specifically? Hold on,
Right.
Transfer stations, it's in a few different
Yes.
spots, you gotta look at
It's-
433.
no,
Yeah, so that's 433.
it's, oh yeah, it's like 40,000 goes into it. So, so, generally speaking, it's about $50,000. In revenue through $50,000 a year. $50,000 a year through halfway into FY '23. Halfway into FY '23, the transfer station fees were increased as well to keep up with all the market pressures and the real costs that the town has been absorbing. So based on those increases, we were able to increase those projected revenues by $25,000. So all total, that portion of revenue that we're projecting in FY '24 has been increased to, I want to say $65,000 in total.
165 or just?
65.
Yeah, 65, yep. But, like if you look, in the budget overview at, in terms of the revenues that go into local receipts, about halfway down, there's a, the current year revenue projection is 265, but because of the increases in fees, specifically for the transfer station, we, were able to increase that to 290,000. I'm planning for FY '24.
Did you say 290,000 receipts from, total receipts?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Total receipts in that category of which is $65,000 on transfer station related receipts.
Okay. Thank you.
Board just takes, board just is the cost for 5302 and 5303.
All told,
No.
oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I was trying to,
Your question was, does board just take the 5302 and 5303?
Yeah.
No, it does not take the mattresses. That's another.
oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay. They're 5302 though.
Yes,
Is that's the contract amount, or is that, do they charge? based on-
that's in the contract. It's pretty clear, the roll-offs and the price per roll-off, the hauling fee and all that. That's how I get to that number.
$5105, they increased there, is that because it's gonna be open longer or more?
Yes, we're looking for 14 hours a week. And we need to make it a little more attractive. And there'll be small duties included with that.
14 total or 14 more?
Total in this budget.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's an increase of 5 per week. $5 per week.
Is there a projected increase in receipts as well? Or
Yeah.
additional hours, just from more people using it?
No,
It was strictly for personnel reasons. We just had a turnover, I don't know if you were aware, the gentleman who was doing it just left. Not just left, but just left. Yeah, well, so we obviously want to put somebody else there, and we have to make it more attractive to them.
Gotcha, okay.
And what's it, 53 weeks?
It's 53 Saturdays next year, because
Oh,
year
okay.
it's 52 weeks.
Okay.
I was hoping something would ask that question.
Did you get the memo?
I was ready for that one, that's,
You were. We're not all sleeping, Tom.
Any questions on 435? Do you have any other?
not at this time.
Okay.
Does he do forestry?
Thank you all for, thank you all for your
Thank you.
service. And the selectmen too, but you guys, while I have you right here, thank you very much.
Thanks,
You're
Tom.
Tom, while you're up, you wanna go through the forestry budget real quick?
The one line.
Are you one line in the forestry department?
It's Department 294.
94.
Increase to $5,028.
It's the 2% increase, yeah.
Any questions on 294? No, we're good.
Thank you,
Tom.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Council on Aging?
Yeah, so just be aware that's part of the revised sheets I handed out today. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
And, the, COA did have a presentation you just wanted to walk through, that's why.
Correct.
Okay.
My brilliant office manager created a little presentation just to explain a little bit about our budget and to clarify some misconceptions that there might be out there from the residents in Dayton regarding our primetime adult supportive day program. Hopefully this will clear some questions that are out there.
Yeah, they generally do. Yeah,
Because those are hard numbers, you could change the notes.
okay. Yeah.
This has the old numbers though, that's the only difference.
That's
But if you want to explain that.
Yeah.
All right, where is this going?
Oh, right there, straight ahead, right above.
Oh, yes. You think I know what it is, I'm in here every day.
Our PowerPoint has a few numbers that were revised as of right today. So
Mike, can you share the presentation over the Zoom call, please?
Yeah, I'm just loading it up, Robert.
Thank you.
There we go. Okay, Bella, take it away.
Okay, so as you can see on slide 2, it explains that our budget is broken into 3 segments. 501 through 515 is the COA, 541 salaries and benefits, 5240 through 5850 is the COA, 541 expense accounts, and also the primetime revolving fund overview. The Council on Aging, the 541, our salary for the director went up 2% with the COLA. It's included per contract. 5110, the office manager, stayed the same because her salary is being negotiated as we speak with the clerical union. Also, 5106, the program manager, is staying the same, also in the clerical union negotiations. 5131, the overtime line was zeroed out. 5152, clothing allowance per manager's union contracts, 200 each, total of 400. 5155, vacation sick time buyback was zeroed out. 5156, the sick leave bonus was zeroed out. I'm not gonna say those numbers because I believe those numbers might be.
Those numbers are correct.
Those numbers are correct. 5105 to 5156 is a total of 148,656.80. On the Council on Aging 541 expense accounts, 5240 to 5340, the equipment and repairs and maintenance is $680. That's to replace some blinds that need to be repaired here in this building, and also common refrigeration repair. It is an old refrigerator. It did it did have a problem this year, and when the guy came, he said, because it is old, it might be starting to fail, so we asked for a little bit of money just in case, because it is a good refrigerator. I think could just fix it a couple more times before we have to buy a new one. 527, rentals and leases, that'll be for a gentleman to come and clean these carpets in the spring. 5300 is the professional and technical, which is $5,685.62. That is including the annual MCOA conference fee, the vault printing, yearly inspection fee, security and fire for the fire equipment that we have throughout this place. The monthly pest control, the half of the monthly cost of the instructors, half of it will be paid by one of our grants that we have acquired. 5340 is the communications, it's $8,479. Those are the postmaster fees for monthly newsletter and office mailing stamps. That line item did go up because stamps did go up immensely, and so did the printing of our newsletter. The Council on Aging 541 continued the expense accounts, 5420 through 5880, office supplies, 2,500. That will be paying for WB Mason, Land Tech, and Crystal Rock. 5710 is the travel line, and that has gone down to $900 from the $1,100 that was previously in your paperwork. And that is the hotel cost for the MCOA conference, and mileage reimbursement to myself, which was, that's why we had 1,111 to begin with, and now we're not doing mileage reimbursement quarterly, so that brought it down to 900. The dues and subscriptions is $324, that's for the MCOA annual dues. The 5850 is the additional equipment, that was zeroed out, that was the line that we had for a new computer, and we zeroed that out this year. The total budget numbers, I believe, might be incorrect at this point in time because we did revise some of these numbers today before the end of the day.
The budget numbers on the PowerPoint, I believe the budget numbers in
In
the budget are actually correct. Yes.
Okay. And moving forward, the Primetime Adult Supportive Day Program, I just wanted to explain a little bit about our program here. The Dayton Council on Aging governs Primetime. It's a supportive adult day program, which is in the shared Council on Aging and Primetime building related here where we're all in. As we discuss our budgets, we'd like to inform you that our town officials and residents of Dayton, how this program operates financially. We have 3 revolving accounts and 2 grants that Primetime uses to function independently that we will discuss further in the next 2 slides. The Primetime Fees account currently has $18,709.05 balance. The monthly invoices are sent to attendees and deposited into the Primetime Fees revolving revenues account. Currently, the rates are $50 per day for out-of-town and Bristol elder attendees and $40 per day for Dayton residents. If they're paying out of pocket. Some of our Dayton residents, they do attend our program through the Romero Grant. The Romero Grant was established to help elders attend our program who don't have the financial means. These fees are for attendance, and they're up to pay the 5 primetime, part-time staff members. This is where we pay our primetime staff through the money that we bring in, that we charge our clients. The Romero Grant account currently has $34,199.81. This pays for the attendance fee for a 3-day or 3-day a client who attends 3 days a week. Some of them might be using the Romero Grant just 1 day or 2 days. It can be used to pay for any part-time staff members. The goal is to only use revolving revenues and use this as an emergency backup. We target Dayton residents and those who are low income. The Primetime Gifts account, donation account, with a current balance of $3,833.73. This account is gifts, donations that residents who love us just give us money, so that's why that's there. And it does pay for supplies, entertainment, food, etc. Our Gatra Passes account, attendees are charged $15 for a ticket, which provides them 10 rides. The money that we take in gets sent to Gatra when we pay the invoice that they send us quarterly, I believe. We also were this year blessed with a grant, a cultural grant of $2,000 that we will be spending on arts and music related programs here at the Primetime Supportive Daycare. That's it for that.
I have a question, Dawn. How
Yes.
many people do you normally have here in a day?
So we started in August of '22 with 8 clients, with clients that were waiting to come back after COVID. And we're up to 14 clients, and I think we have a tour this week, I'm pretty sure. So we're working very hard to advertise our program. And we've found different outlets that we had never touched before, and I think it's working. And the thing that has come to our knowledge is that there are people that live in Dayton do not know that we exist here.
The flyer you sent out was very informative. That was good.
So we're working very hard on that part to let people know that we are here. So on a typical basis, right now, I think the biggest day we had was 10. Right, Titi? About 10.
For prime time.
For the prime time, yes.
Yeah.
In the meantime, though, we are offering programs to the residents of Dayton, even including on the days that we are holding the daycare. They're invited to attend our entertainment that we have, some of the programs that we're offering, the meals that we offer on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They can sit with our clients. And we have an art program that people come in on the day that prime time. So that prime time is run. The thing is, we are using this building more than we ever have in the 15 years that I was here, and I'm very glad to see that. I like to see all the cars out there when I drive in. So that's where we're at with that.
You have an opening day as part of your expanded COA program.
Yes,
You
we're
have an
having an
opening
opening
day
day
celebration for
On
the residents.
Thursday for the clients here, and we'll put it out to the community to come and have hot dogs with us. The Red Sox are playing, go Red Sox. So that we're very excited. And we continue to learn, my team and I, my right-hand people, they're very helpful, they're learning with myself, and we're always introducing new ideas, working towards new goals constantly. And I think we're good. I think we've done good so far.
Thank you.
One of the questions we've had in the past is collections. You know, it wasn't always a priority to, after billing, getting paid for billing. Where do you guys stand on collections?
Our family members are caught up to date. As of today, they are caught up. Is that what you mean?
So basically, everybody you billed is paid.
It has paid up since August, and nobody owed us money from before either. So it was always, I don't understand that question because I don't remember ever being in a big problem of getting our money in here. The problem was getting clients.
Well, both. A couple of years ago, it was also collections along those lines, that was not a.
Yeah, the receivables were, were not up to date.
So you had mentioned about expense-wise, office supplies and communications. Communications had a developed printing and stamps.
Correct. No, no. Communications is printing press for monthly newsletter and postmaster stamps. Press for the monthly newsletter and the postmaster stamp. Right, the postmaster stamps, falls under our communication. We do monthly mailings to the clients that attend our program. Thank you notes to all the volunteers things like that. And unfortunately, that's one of the biggest things that went up was our across the street there, the post office really. And what happened was on the communications, we split. I can't think where we split it there now. Laura, please help me. Was it?
Communications, we took out our printing, which is $4,200 to be paid by the formula grant. So the actual printing press
What's around?
is not in the communication line. The only thing in there is what we pay the postmaster to stamp and then mail all of the newsletters. And we mail to 1,400 residents, because that gets mailed to one household per 60-year-old. So anyone who's 60-year-old or we don't send to if two live in one home, it only goes to one.
So you said, so the grant covers all the printing?
The
Press
grant covers the
costs.
printing, this communication line covers the mailing
Okay.
of the postmaster.
One of the other reasons that made a significant change was that we updated our database. And there was many people who have moved in. There's a lot of people over the age of 60 that have moved into Dayton within the past 5 years. I don't know what the count is. It was 1,100 elders, 60 and older, and we're up to 1,700 now from the 2020 census. There's been a big jump, so therefore that made our newsletter, and we're trying different outlets. In the newsletter, we ask people if they want us to stop mailing it and they could get it on, or email it to them, or
Right.
if they could just get it on. We've had a couple of people who have reached out and said that, oh no, don't mail it to me, I'll go get it online, or
Okay. So is that number going up?
slowly, yes. Slowly.
Each month the newsletter gets sent, I'd say one person reaches out to have it emailed instead of that. So right now it's up to 3 people get emailed, but
But that hasn't been offered for very long.
No.
I also think that,
Entirely new mailing list.
I also think that the elders that are coming up now are more internet savvy, and it's a big difference from the 80-year-olds and the 9-year-olds that live in Dayton. Yes, there are some that go on the internet, but the majority of the 9-year-olds and 80-year-olds in Dayton do not go on the internet, and they want that paper. So, you know, what kind of like.
Ms. Ball,
Yes,
regarding prime time tuition rate, are there two separate rates for residents and non-residents?
correct. the Dayton residents $40 per day. If they're of low income, we offer them the Romero grant. Always, the Dayton residents give preference to the Romero grant, and they're $40 per day. And the out of towners, the surrounding communities, they're $50 per day. And our Bristol Elder Services, some of the clients that we have are contracted through Bristol Elder Services out of Fall River. They're in their home care program,
Right.
among other programs that they have. At this point in time, they are giving us $50 a day, but it's because they had a little extra money through June 30th. And I actually asked today at our meeting if it would be nice if they're thinking about maybe making that $50 permanently, and they're working on that. So I'm looking forward to that for $50 a day.
Thank you.
The office supply line, 5420, what that $1,500 increase is?
So we overspent in our office supply line. We got a new printer and we switched to toner. So it was kind of hard for us to figure out exactly what that cost will be now that we are using a completely different printer and toner. We were flying through ink before we got that. And we just wanted to cover our base to make sure if that number trended to be what we are currently at now. We overspent. I think we originally asked for $1,000 last year, and I think we're on the red on $2,100.
I also wanted to add,
spent $1,000.
I also wanted to add, if you could keep in mind that our office was located at Lincoln Village, which we used their printer there and their internet and so forth. So when we came here now, we actually buying paper, we never bought paper before. And so that's one of the reasons also that we're making a little more, spending a little more on that line because we have separated from that building and the housing authority is not providing us paper or ink any longer.
What rough idea of how many, on a monthly basis, how many out-of-town clients you have?
TJ?
5 in town, 9 out of town.
I'm sorry, yes, I do. Out of the 14 that we have, 5 are Dayton attendees. So 9 are out of town. Our goal is to bring our clientele numbers to 20.
So out of the 9 out of town, is that 5 days a week?
3 days a week,
3 days a week? The Dayton residents? 3 days
also
a week
3 days a week. I'm not sure if they're all coming 3 days a week. Most of them are coming 1 to 2 days. There are some that are coming 3 days, but not all of them come. Right, not all of them come 3 days a week, they're not there yet. Because it also depends on what the families can afford.
So roughly, the program brings in around $8,000 a month?
At this point in time, no. We did some calculations and we're bringing in about $4,700 a month.
That you bring the fall 14K 3 days a week every week.
Yeah, now we've got the entire costs all consolidated into one account now.
Yeah, like it's just how like cleaner that way.
Right, right, so it used to be a little more convoluted or.
Yes. So one of the things also, like with the programming in the building and like in the employees, like of the program as well, like really focusing more on the COA program as well, like we wanted to represent the true costs, so all the true costs of all the COA program in one budget.
forward. Just one question before I ask everybody else. So in essence, then the town is subsidizing about $100,000 a year towards.
I'd say based on the very deliberate, effort in the restructuring we proposed last year to do, actually have a broader council on aging programming. The staff here has actually brought in to be more of a council on aging, actually less of a prime time. And so the costs that used to be just included in the prime time budget, practically, I would say maybe probably splits in half or 2/3 at this point. In terms of the responsibility of that position, actually being way more shared between the broader council on aging program and, again, to help administer the prime time program as well. We, in my opinion, we basically had to create a broader council on aging program from the ground up.
Any questions?
No, I'm just wondering, is that 20 number that you're coming up with, is that like based on a break-even point to have the council on aging break out with the expense? You had said you'd like to see it up to 20.
Correct,
Is that something that's been analyzed and you feel is the point you need to be at? To be
yes,
like a break-even, is that what that
Correct.
number is? And what's the mix of that between Dayton and outside? Is that like a 50-50? So you don't, what were those statistics on, just curious? If you're
we
talking
reach
20.
out to the Dayton residents.
Yeah.
Not as many Dayton residents come forth to attend our program
Right.
than,
The out of town?
Berkeley.
Yeah, okay. No, I was just curious if that's where the 20 number came from, or just a goal you have, or
I
if
was
it's a
under the
break-even.
impression 20 was the capacity with staff.
That's what
Oh, correct, that's another thing.
So limit yourself on that.
It should be the building capacity of
At least
clients.
in that space.
A clients to staff ratio, which
I
we
got
can.
you, okay, good, well, that's nice to understand. All right, thank you.
So if they add 6 out of 10, it's about another 47 grand if they do the 3 days a week
Right,
at 50 and a half.
right.
If they get the 14 to come consistently,
Yeah.
what's the rate, that's about
Cost-wise, it's.
That's if they come 3 days a week.
Right, exactly,
That's what's
another
supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with this space too, it's not, like Ella said, it's a shared space for the community as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anyone has the opportunity but to look at the Vine, at a lot of programming that we've added. And we actually just got our most exciting event on St. Patrick's Day. We had 26 people attend our St. Patrick's Day party on a Friday. And that's without any primetime activities. So that's just community members from Dayton coming through this building that previously never did because one, the space was never here, and two, something like that was never offered. So we're trying to really change it up, reach out to Dayton residents through the Vine, and when they attend, we say, what's something that the Council on Aging doesn't offer that you want? Because obviously we're here to do what they want. We want to have what they want to do so we can get them through the door. So I know we're kind of focusing on prime time, but I also want to highlight, this is a lot of Council on Aging, like Mike Mullen said. All 3 positions, specifically in program, office, director, we do mainly highlighting Council on Aging. And prime time is just an added bonus and a resource for people with elders and people who are doing home care that need a break.
And also, I want you to remember that we just opened up 2 weeks into August of '22. We really haven't been open that long, and it was a whole reorganization of this program, and we're still, we're we're trying, and I would hope that you'd give us a good solid year to say, oh, yeah, you did it, or no, that's not gonna work, but, you know, because 6 months, 7 months is really not, especially when you had all new staff.
Yeah.
All new people put in place.
It's a valuable program for the town. It's a good program to have, and I'm sure none of us are thinking otherwise.
Well, I know, yeah, because you don't need us yet.
We don't know that.
Tom, Mr. Federer?
So it's not a financial question, but could you introduce who came to support you tonight from the staff?
Of course, my right-hand people, Laura Maderas, who is the Council on Aging Office Manager, Trista Tate, who is the primetime Council on Aging Office Manager. She does program manager. She's the Council on Aging Program Manager. Between the three of us, we're in each other's departments all day long. We work together as a team. I jump into Trista's seat, she can jump into mine, where everybody here, the three of us are a team and we're all learning together, so at any point in time, one of us can take a day off, because the other one could fill in. We really never had that before. Everything was kind of separated, and now it's a more conjunction between all of us. It's a big word, I don't even know if I use that.
Along that overlap, which is very important, is a lot that goes on to the planning and intake. She's still manages the office at Lincoln Village 1 day a week also, as an outreach to that community, and also, I believe the public can go there, which is important.
Correct,
It's still-
sometimes,
It's still a stereotype of, you have to be old to come here. We're starting to get out of that, we're not there yet.
Well, we're getting there with our line dancing. We have 28 RSVPs, and a lot of them are younger residents in town between 60 and 75. So April 24th, 1 PM, line dancing, if anyone's interested.
we have held programs at Lincoln Village, where we have invited the community. We had a pop-up farmers market there, and a very huge turnout. It was nice because the residents there could just leave their apartments and go. A lot of them don't drive, so we didn't want to abandon those people either when we moved our office here. But we have way more parking space here than we did at Lincoln Village. When the place was built in the 70s, everybody just had one car. Everybody who lives there has 2 cars, so when we would hold something, with respect to Alice, when we did hold something, I used to have to go out there and say, okay, park on over here on that grass spot, because there was no parking spot, you know. So here, nobody can say, oh, there's no parking space, because there's parking space here, down there. So things that we are holding there in collaboration with the Dayton Police Department, a big attendance from outside, and Lincoln Village residents. So we do continue to go there on Wednesdays and hold office hours to help those people, because we didn't want to abandon them.
Any other questions?
Oh yeah, one thing I just want to actually add, in terms of the prime time and the enrollment, one thing I just want to make sure is on everyone's radar, obviously with the enrollment, the capacity enrollment of 20. And having all of the revenues and expenses based on that, if we don't actually hit the 20, I want to give Bella, a kind of a credit trajectory managing those revenues, to get to what the expenses are as well. So it's not, just based on, the expenses being at the 20, at the capacity of 20, so but our revenue is only equaling, $4,700 a month, that they're managing, they're actively managing the expenditures, based on the realized revenues, which I think is really important to know.
And rest assured, Mike and Serena are on top of all that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No.
One of the Board of Assessors.
Board of Assessors.
Having a hot flash.
Board of Health. Board of Finance, sorry, I wouldn't know.
Then it's American Idol.
I actually watched that the other night. I didn't,
Pretend it's American Idol, it's American.
Yeah, I saw having hot flashes on ears. They said. Hot flashing. Alright. Do you want me to start going through line by line or? I missed how everyone started. I didn't have a presentation like Bella, so I.
Yeah, like, I think generally, like a very brief overview, like a lot of the flavor of the discussion has actually come out of follow-up questions that both boards have been asking, so you don't have to like go crazy into it, I guess.
Okay. So, the first 3 lines, the Board of Assessor Chairman and the 2 members, we put in for the 2% increase. And also the principal assessor has the 2% increase. We didn't put in for the other 2 staff members because they're part of the union. We weren't sure how that was gonna play out. The overtime line, actually reduced that. So we reduced that by 500. We had that time for outside assistance of the previous assessor when I started, so, but we still left it for a day and a half professional development if necessary, which we'll probably use. The clothing allowance went down 200 because I had put in last year for the 3 of us not knowing. I don't get paid to dress up there and so we have nothing for the vacation, sick time buyback, or the sick leave bonus. So those were taken out. Next, 5240, the equipment repair and maintenance, we took that off. We didn't use it this year, so we felt it wasn't necessary at the moment. Professional and technical, we remain the same. That is for, we use it for our assessor's office and the board's classes and our little seminars and webinars and everything. 5301, our maps, the cost increased unfortunately to update our maps. So we have an annual cost and a map update, so whenever we get our maps in, we send it off. All the meets and bounds go on there, it looks all pretty. Lisa in the office insists on that, so she hunts for these and she sneaks old maps in when they get sent, because she wants everything that meets and bounds on stuff. We have our interim evaluation is the 8,000 for the consultant we use to certify residential and commercial values that we submit to the DOR. Then we have our wireless communication appraisal, that is our personal property person that we use. They give us the appraisal for the utilities now that the DOR doesn't perform that for us no longer, and the cable, so. Office supplies, I think we kept the same, yep. Envelopes, we actually purchased the envelopes with the stamps already on them. We used to have trouble, I remember, because I was here and then I went to Somerset and I came back, we always had problems with the stamp machine, so Carol preferred doing it that way and I find it easy. We don't have to get jammed up and use your card or whatever, how it works, so it works for us. We have a couple big mailings with exemptions a year, but it's not crazy, we go through a couple processes. So travel mileage for work-related and professional development, I think that went down. 400, and our dues and subscriptions actually, we didn't have everyone covered. We have the local Bristol County Association, then we have the municipal association. So We have all three members of the board and all three members of the office on both of those. And that wasn't always like that, so that's what the increase is. I think that's kind of it, right?
Yes. In regards to upgrading the skills of each of the assessors, is that including professional and technical for taking classes?
Yes, yes, and Lisa just took course 5, and she passed, and that's a tough course, so she's on her way to, actually, she's copied my books from classes that she hasn't taken yet, and she studies on downtime. I don't know, I see her with the book, I'm like, whoa. I don't even know when the classes are coming out, she's always trying to learn, so Lisa's very, very good at learning. And we actually, whenever we have webinars, and actually we're going to Easton on Thursday to measure and list. We're gonna, all of us go out there in some boots, and it's like our local assessors, they try to get as much knowledge they can to us, so going out to do that, gonna do some measure and list in Easton. Be nice, I like Easton, so.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
How much how much continuing ed do you guys have to take in a year?
Every 2 years, it used to be a lot more, now it's, well, because I have my certification, I have to, it's 28 hours, I think.
Every 2
And-
years?
Yeah, and by your birthday, I think, and the 7-hour use pack to keep it up to date, so. It's like, I only need like a few, but then if you go and take a course, it's like $600 and you get 30 something, so that's more than you need, so it's like hard trying to get all those without that large.
Is it just a yearly thing, or is it so many per period, like a 3-year stretch?
So every 2 years, I need 28 now credits, so like a half a day thing, might be 3, might be 2. We have a Christmas one, I think it's only 1. But we had fun, right Nancy? So,
Is it the same for the other members or just for you?
I'm the only one
That has.
that has that.
Okay.
But like I said, she's still a few away, not many, but the classes aren't always, out there for you to grab, and they fill up quick. I found that out with that use pack one.
So the other assessors don't have to take CEUs?
They don't have to. I encourage, classes and learning. I mean, we learn so much, usually we get updated depending on who we're going to see. Sometimes it's a lawyer. We, find out the latest and greatest of what's going on. It's very, very helpful. But if they're not I encourage, but they don't have to. I mean, it's nice to know. And I share anything I learn. We usually bring back papers and we go through it, or, we work as a team. We kind of, brainstorm out there and get opinions, and we're trying to, move things more into the digital way of things are going, so.
Now, is the money reflected in the budget for the other assessors if they wanted to take?
Yeah, we have the 3,300 in there, so, anyone can go on the board. We have ourselves. Yeah, no problem. Anything? No? I'm just gonna be quiet. Give me the thumbs up, that's all that matters.
Any questions on that?
One thing I do wanna bring up, it's not really part of my budget, but, with, the whole thing with the exemptions, how we're looking to increase the assets for the senior exemption. The financial team, we've been talking about things, and, right now our budget is like 95,000 for our overlay. And depending on, so I'm pretty sure that we're gonna be putting through, increasing the asset limits for the senior. So we might need to adjust the overlay, because we'll be not sure how many more are gonna be qualified. It's the right thing to do. It's, the law is right there, it just we need to put it into place. So for each senior, it would be $1,000 added to the overlay. So if we have 20 or 30 seniors, so, I mean, just a suggestion, I mean, we're kind of trying to go through and see if there's a way we can figure out. I mean, it's gonna be hard to figure out, you know, how much you have in your bank, and you qualify now, you know, but we're trying to crunch some numbers and just take a look. So, I mean, I'm thinking maybe 20 or 30,000 might have to be added to the overlay to not be short when this goes through. Because right now, they're at,
The assets was already.
30 and 32.
It's the income. It's the increase. Now it's 20 assets. And it's 5 loans.
So what you said you might, that's not true. It's, yeah.
It's,
Yeah, they need a board vote. You need a board vote for that to happen.
Right.
We've already adopted that section of the law.
Right. Did we already say we were gonna, I have to still do the figures.
yeah.
I know Bill said it was about 1.5% up, so I need to just go through, see what the COLA's been, and so,
What are the limits right now?
so right now, a senior that's 70 or older, single would be 30,000 in the bank, and a married is 32 in the bank, and it's gonna be going up to like 45 and like 50, 55, I think, for a single and married. Because I guess all along, we should have been doing the COLA to both the income and the assets. But we hadn't been doing it like that. So, Bill did a lot of research, you know, to get that information. Like, we don't do that in Somerset. I don't think they do it around town. Because normally, I mean, it's just you know, 30,000, 25,000. It's not 25,921 and 32 cents. So, I mean, I don't think anyone is actually doing that, but with the research he did, you know, back
exemption again, I'm sorry.
the married,
Yeah, what was that?
currently, it's 32,000 in, assets. I'm not sure what it's gonna go up to. I know it's gonna be over 45, I think, by Bill's estimate, but, I haven't actually, I tried to start doing that today, and I just didn't have time.
Did you say that's just cash?
That's the asset, so,
All assets?
yeah,
No, your house is not.
yeah, the house doesn't count, unless you
You
have
own a
a,
second home? Yeah, it's
That's
permanent.
correct.
right,
The main residence doesn't count, it's just
No,
what cash and what.
other
furniture.
types of assets.
yeah.
A secondary home would be added into it.
Stocks, bonds, so stocks, bonds, that type of savings, checking.
The Board of Assessors are unanimous on taking this action. But before, as you said, before we take the vote to actually do it, Mr. Moore did a lot of research. And since the town adopted that section of the law but did not increase it all these years, with the increases in the cost of living, he came up with a rough number of 1.5%. So that's how it got up to the 45 or maybe higher number. But now Mrs. Schechter is gonna go back and do more research. And I think it's probably gonna come out to close to what Mr. Mello calculated. But once that happens, if this doesn't go to town meeting, it's the Board of Assessors that has the authority to do this. And then it will affect overlay. So that's information we'll be providing down the road.
You also mentioned income. What are the income limits?
Income, which we do yearly.
Income is adjusted income?
Yes. So a single is $29,823, and if you're married, it's $41,370. That's their combined income. So you need both in order to qualify.
Would I be right in assuming that that doesn't include social security?
Yes, income and social security,
It does include social
Yeah.
security.
before they take out all those little extra things too. Before, you know, sometimes they have,
Yeah, Medicare and.
yeah, they're supposed to take that number,
The gross.
so.
And then so a senior would submit the application. You guys verify, and then it would go back to the beginning of that current year? Exemption?
Well, we start July 1st, and they can go all the way until April 1st. That's the time frame they have to get the information into us.
So they submitted tomorrow. would it go back to?
Well, it's gonna cover their, they'll be covering FY '24.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
so, right, so now,
You can't do it now because how could you possibly make
Yeah.
adjustments in this fiscal year?
Right. so if they got it in previous years, it would show, the preliminary would take into account that they received it, because it takes the previous year, what you paid in taxes, subtracting out the exemption. And then they would actually see it on the actuals. They see that 500 coming off each time.
Okay.
So,
So the key lesson, 4 days, 3 days, 2 days.
yes, and we actually had a couple people come in, since I think Bill spoke at the last meeting, so. I thought it was 3 people, but it was just two daughters for their elderly mother, which I said, those old ladies that came in, but so they joke, no, the old ladies are doing it for their old lady mom. I said, oh my God, I get it. So,
Stephanie, you're on thin ice.
I know, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Hey, I wanna come here, we've had a meeting here, and they have, they're having so much fun with maracas, and I said, I wanna be.
What time are you done in Easton on Thursday?
Yeah, I know, hey, I'm coming for hot dogs. I said we're gonna have a day and during the summer, because they're all gone over there, we are, or myself, we're gonna come and do a presentation for the seniors so they can, explain more detail, so they understand how it works and what we need. Because, you know what, this is a good thing. Unfortunately, it's all getting 2024's, budget, but it is a good thing, because some are so close to qualify, but now when the assets are where they should be.
I just wanna add, there is a, I'll say stringent verification process of assets, bank statements or checking account, actual documentation. Similar to what people would go through if they were, let's say, applying for SSI. It's just not, this is what I made and whatever, so, the information that's gathered. And then when it comes to the Board of Assessors for us to review, if we have questions as board members, like, well, what about this and what does that mean? Then it usually gets tabled until the next meeting so that we can get more data.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And, Board of Health.
Good job, Jane.
Geez, 5:10.
So I'm happy I didn't go after prime time because I didn't know there'd be slideshows. Just have you take, so on 5:10, I'm just gonna kind of go through the changes. You'll see that we level funded, the Board of Health chair as well as Board of Health members. Their first change you'll see there is on the health agent. At the last Board of Selectmen meeting, we had come forward with some of our restructuring efforts. One of those was decreasing the health agent's hours. And as we go down the list, you'll see why that we had made that decision. So that's that new number that we had come to. The next was level funded, that's the town nurse. Next is operation managers. This was new to our budget. We're looking to have somebody to overlook, which will be the next line, the inspections that we're gonna be having a third party do, have someone that's gonna be more there on the daily basis to be kind of an oversight. Right now, it's difficult, we have a board, obviously, but we don't have somebody on the ground with the department daily to kind of keep everything on track, and it's found to be necessary. We only meet once a month. If something comes up, it makes it difficult for us to resolve that right away. We wanna make sure that residents are getting what they need right away, and they're not waiting till a Board of Health member when all 3 of us can meet to resolve certain issues. So having something like that, an operations manager, available would be helpful. Inspections, so this is the reason why we decreased the health agent's hours. We're looking to have more of our inspections go out to a third party. In this case, then the residents who need these inspections are actually paying for the service and not all the residents in town. You can see that we kind of looked back the last year to see how many we had, and that's how we got the numbers for that. The salary for the office manager, that was just reduced to match the current employee. We just took on our new office manager, and she has a contract till 6/30. I don't know if there was any other changes in there other than those that were significant.
How many hours does the operations manager account for?
35,
Is it? I had it somewhere, hold on a minute.
it's shared.
Up to 10 hours a week.
Yes.
Office manager is even, that's a contract that's renegotiated.
Clerical contract.
When do you anticipate filling the operations manager position?
Well, like everything, it's gonna be a process. We have to come up with what is it called?
Job description.
Yes, a job description, and then go from there. From what little we talked about it, put it in for in-house, obviously, and all that. So I'm not really sure how long that process generally takes. I mean, obviously, we wouldn't start it till the next fiscal year, so.
Do you anticipate them hitting the ground running, or
I would hope so, yes.
not something that's gonna wait until the second half of next year?
No. Not the way I see it. We know things don't always end up like you see it, but I would hope that we can get off the ground running and get that. It's very much needed.
The expenses, I see that you zeroed out the professional and technical with it, 5,300.
Can I just make a comment? So we also had Department 519,
Oh,
which
okay.
I combined into 510. So professional and technical is duplicated. So one is funded and one must have come from the 519, which isn't being funded.
Gotcha. Okay.
So there are a couple of duplicates.
Yeah, like, and that's actually a part of, like overarching, like, goal, like, where we had duplicate budgets. So, one department in more than one budget. Just like with, it comes from aging, we tried to streamline it. I know, especially with the Board of Health. Like managing overtime and additional hours. For the current employees, it's always, it's been kind of crazy town because, they haven't had a whole really resource allocation or funding to work with. And it has caused just a lot of operational challenges.
Just so everyone understands, the Board of Health has had tremendous amount of transition in the last year. All of the current members have not had previous experience putting together a budget. And from what I can see here, they did an outstanding job. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to say Jim helped us, him and Paul, the member that's not here, they did a great deal of the work on this. I don't know where we would have been without his help, so I don't want to take all the credit for that, but we were very grateful to Jim.
It was a team effort, thank you.
Questions on 510? Thank you.
Welcome.
Your waste too, right?
Oh, yeah,
Waste.
Yeah.
4330.
Didn't sound good.
I've come to love solid waste.
Oh,
133.
sorry.
So for this, I'll just answer any questions. I might have to have Jim step in. I was just learning this year.
Yeah, so total, I just wanted to, I just want to call everyone's attention to what, we actually mentioned at the beginning of the budget process. Like over the past 18 months, we have actually seen about, $126,000 increase in, total year-to-year solid waste and waste, like waste disposal costs. So yeah, so we did, it did actually level out, like a little bit, in, going into, FY '24 based on trends we're seeing and actually, like what we're actually collecting in volume. But it is, it's still very significant compared to where we were 2 years ago.
Yeah, the pandemic increased the trash within the homes, and then from there, the fuel went up, so that also was an added increase.
Is the well testing, is that a cyclical? Or is that an every year?
How often does that happen? Is that?
Yeah, that's annually, and that's a contract, yes.
We're trying to get it reduced, correct?
We are working on that. Solid Waste Committee has really taken a hands-on approach to try and really curb some of these costs. We're still in our infancy, but we are making strides, leaps and bounds, so we have a lot more work to do, but we're looking forward to come back to you with some more progress, so.
Just so you're aware, the public is aware, at the MMA conference, this issue came up. It's not just a Dayton problem, it's throughout the state. And the AG's office, the accountant's office, as well as the governor's office is aware. We're developing a plan. They've actually extended an invitation to the town administrator, Mr. Mullen, to meet with them to help assist the governor in creating probably a grant type program. The Board of Health received last year 22 pages of mandates, unfunded mandates. And the governor's office is aware that sometimes towns like that. Just one more thing to put on Mr. Mullins.
Does that contract run through next year?
Yes, we're in the middle, right in the middle of the contract, so yes. We're hoping solid waste comes up with some type of a solid plan before we start using
So that 1 year left after fiscal '24 or
Correct.
calendar '24?
It's a fiscal contract.
Fiscal,
Yes.
yes,
Up through fiscal '25?
Yes.
through fiscal '25, yes. Actually, on that, we have a very, like in my view, like a more than fair contract. Like through our hauler, they've always been more, way more than fair to the town. Like my experience here, there's really other, like in what I consider entities that really have more of more of like a lock-in, a monopoly on the market. And that I'm actually quite thankful that we have the holiday provider that we do, because one of these other like monopoly companies, like once you're with them, so it takes out like any type of flexibility, leverage, you're at your beck and call at that point.
Any questions on fourth furniture?
Awesome. All right, thank you.
The regulations and inspections, is that?
No, industrial development.
Yeah, the regulations, that might have been like an old budget that has merged into something else at this point.
Yeah, I think that was part of it.
Yeah, we probably threw that into Jim's plate.
So it was.
It was.
Industrial and development?
DDS.
720. Present.
189.
189.
So I can just give a brief overview of what's going on, or if you had specific questions for me, I can answer those.
It's there.
It's in 2 lines.
Main question would be, what do you guys have going on?
So this year, if you look at our budget, we've only spent about $250 of the 1,000 that was received last year, but we actually have outstanding invoices for $750. We actually got some infusion of additional cash this year from unexpected sources for both Taunton Area Chamber of Commerce. They helped pay for all of our mailings for what was our first annual business networking event. That saved us several $100s. Serpent also paid for mailings for promotion of what was our town survey and some public events we had there for mailings. So that was another grant. So we've been using the additional money to help fund future marketing material in the form of drone aerial videography of business sites in town. Just raw footage, but something forward planning so that a year or 2 years down the road, we can incorporate that into an actual marketing plan that we can put out there. For the upcoming year, we are planning on a second annual business networking event. We, just like last year, we were a sponsor of the event ourselves. The event itself was probably several $1,000s to run, but we sponsored it to the tune of $250. And then Taunton Area Chamber of Commerce kicked in, as well as several big participants in the local area. So we plan to do that again. We can't count on Taunton Chamber of Commerce paying for the mailings again, so we did put in a placeholder for that. That probably is going to cost us, targeted mailing to just the businesses in town would be about $250. And we do have a much more robust mailing list now than we did last year, because we spent a lot of time unearthing what are a lot of the businesses in town. And although many of them are home-based, there's close to 300 or more local businesses that we're probably reaching out to at this point. We're also planning on a job fair for next year. We're going to be doing that this year as well, but we're just piggybacking on helping to promote what some of the local schools are doing, additional BT. But next year, we're probably going to have something in-house targeting Dayton-specific businesses and trying to get people engaged in the schools, but also adults looking for employment as well. And we also have some money in there, about $250 for next year for additional marketing. It probably would go towards continuation of what's our Shop Local campaign. We did stand up this year, the new local Dayton business directory that can be found on the town website. So listing of businesses in town, which we're up to about 35 or so businesses now, and we're trying to encourage more people to participate. But trying to further that and just encourage either that specifically or other local, Shop Local campaigns in general. So that would become, so we're level funded. Our request for next year for $1,000, so that's where we spent.
Questions?
Thank you.
Conservation.
171.
Okay, as you can see, we cut our budget down from 1.2 million to what you see on the bottom. That's, okay, for the conservation agent and secretary, I think that those two are quite consistent with what we had in the past. And as far as benefits communication, which is clothing allowance, boots, pants, hat, chemicals to keep the ticks off, and the biggest expense there is the phone bill. And I understand that something may be in the works for a town phone in the future. Right now, she's using her own phone and getting reimbursed for that. What's new is the clerical. Lisa's had, it's just been inundated with work for her, phone calls and paperwork and filing and everything else. So that would be a new position to open up for part-time. I mean, I go down there several times a week and she is just so loaded with work that it's extremely difficult for her to keep up, and some assistance would be necessary. Under professional and technical, let's see, we plan to have, need some special, maybe legal work done, which would be to approve bylaw changes that we wish to make. We have so many multiple violations and it's just the work is she's being inundated with work, and then sometimes we need that little bit of extra assistance from what we've had in the past. Okay, under supplies, well, I think that's pretty much explanatory. Just to give you an idea, it costs $8.10 to send out a certified letter, and everybody that gets a notice has to be notified, certified, and just that in itself is quite a bit. And then dues, well, we have 5 members plus an associate member. Those alone are $625. There are courses that are being offered by MAC, Massachusetts Association of Conservation Commissions, and we want to make it available to the new members. And so we have a total budget, as you see there, a little bit less than what I first said.
Well, the obvious question is why 6% increase in wages?
When I did this up, we see that the economy is going up at about 12%. So I just cut that in half and thought that was reasonable and yet still low as far as the economy goes.
The professional and technical, again, the, just walk me through that increase. I mean, it's a almost $9,000 increase.
Okay, we're gonna have, we know we're gonna have legal fees to deal with certain items. Right now, we have filed, or we gave a rejection to Strawberry Fields. You know that, right? They appealed it to the state, and the state, in the most ridiculous manner possible, overrode our decision. So now we are appealing the state. The commission has some rollback money from agricultural. Right now, we already have one estimate of $67,000. So we need something to back us up for other expenses, but we are trying to bail out the town as well. When we get one estimate for professional services to fight this developer, in the court for this. And that does not include 2 lawyers, and it does not include a professional botanist that has been in the field working with us for several years.
So it's legal fees, is really.
Well, a lot of it could be there. Yes, that is to back us up, and certainly if it's not used, it goes back to the town. We're not here to go after the town. I mean, there's 5 of us on the commission. Myself, 48 years, and my salary has been that much for 48 years. So, and there's 2 that have been on longer than me. So, we're not out to milk the town.
Mr. Digits.
Yes.
In regards to the salary secretary, that's a non-union position, correct?
The clerical would be new. The
Right.
secretary is continuing what he has done. The clerical is new, and this is directly to help Lisa in the office.
But 1, it's not a union position.
Correct.
2, it's not something that there was a negotiation in regards to.
No, we'd look for someone part-time, probably someone in the town now that would like a few more hours or.
I understand, and where I'm going with this is that with all of the non-union positions that are getting the stipend, because this isn't a salary, that we've been going with 2% across the board. So
Yeah,
my
I hear
concern-
that.
My concern is if you do for one, the others may feel.
Well, that's your option evidently to rearrange the figures.
Thank you.
To Selectman Hall's question, the clerical worker, that's, how many hours are you looking for with that?
Well, that would be 5 or 10 hours a week.
Oh, it's calculated
Probably 5.
Calculated at 5.
Yeah, it's on the calculator 5.
And that would be it would be an employee position, that's not a stipend position.
Exactly, what we're in the middle of bargaining with the clerical union based on that, I think in details, but we would anticipate that would be a clerical union covered role.
Yes, for 5 hours a week.
Yeah, like that, maybe merge into something else.
Yeah, okay.
So that would be covered under a union at some point, that's what you're saying.
Yes. And it does reflect that associated rate.
Okay. Any other questions on what's everyone?
That's it?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is anyone here from historically?
691. Yeah, kind of. Close enough.
Commission.
Historical Commission.
Hey, I'm Pat Gales, I'm the chairperson. So I guess our budget is at 1,400. It's a little budget, less than last year. Major difference is going into FY '24 is we're not doing the GSI mapping. We didn't do another survey project. So that's the biggest difference. But in the professional and technical, there is still $700 because the commission has the option to have 7 members. And that's to get people to attend conferences and workshops. Some of them are free through Mass Historical Commission, but there are some paid ones, and the average appears to be around $100 per person to go to those. I'm encouraging most of our members to go because we're all fairly new, so that we can learn about, historical preservation and bring it back to town. So that gets down to, if you look down to travel, there's an increase in travel. So for people to go to these conferences, we just averaged it out at the 65 cents per mile for people to go, and that comes up to $130. So those are the two biggest areas. Other supplies is our office supplies. We buy markers for historical sites in town, anything that's dealing with preservation. So.
Great.
Okay.
Questions, 691?
No. Well, that was easy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You have anyone for town historian?
$690, $250.
Did they actually put the light?
Through the historical commission capacity. Just a quick question, Pat, not to put you on the spot, but I believe you had communicated with the town historian about the town historian's budget.
I haven't talked.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, so.
Yeah, I haven't really talked with her recently. I do know 8:30 at night's late for her to come. She hasn't used her budget a lot, but she is anticipating now that she will start using it. She's using a lot of her own ink and paper and stuff at home, so find a way to help her get that reimbursed, so. Okay, I think she would appreciate that. Technically, she's not under the commissions, but she's on her own, even though we're kind of closely working together.
She shouldn't be spending it out of her pocket.
No, she shouldn't, yeah, I agree. Very easy to do.
And she's been doing it for a lot of years.
Yeah, so, okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The agricultural commission was still waiting on the zero-based budget, so, we can hold on that, please.
To cable.
I guess I take the stand.
You don't want to leave the fireside.
No, it's something cool when it's good when you're over 65, you can take a little kick down. All right, guys, it's my first time doing this in 10 years, so bear with me. So we came up with a line item, zero budget with Laura in Dalton. And so we'll start with 5107. Cost is $20,000. This is estimated hours for current employees with a little wiggle room for any new employees who want to join the committee. So base right now, Laura and I get $20 an hour, Dalton's getting 15. We have 3 members. We really should have 4 to 5. So we're staying within the cost of that with our hours. With that, Laura's only working 5 hours a week because she works in this department too. So we're doing the best we can, trying to work with her hours and accomplish things for cable. 5240, equipment repairs and maintenance. We have a main server that runs channel 9, is over 5 years old. Vendor expects failures due to age. We have currently witnessed issues with the server with broadcasting probably the last 3 times. The good thing is we have an AC that's working now, which is great, so it's cooling off the server. But when you work with computers and servers, they're like 5 years. It's like like 9 lives. Well, this is 5 years with this equipment. It gets outdated very quickly, and then we're going to have to come up with a new system pretty soon. In addition, we put this money, $10,000. We're not sure what we're going to run for repairs because we have to call somebody out to look at it. They're going to charge us for parts and labor. And lately, everything's not cheap because of supply and labor. 5340, communications. That's our Comcast bill that we get once a month, so we have our own router in the cable office, because many years ago, when we had a problem with the wiring and the cable, we decided to get our own router to make it easier. And that bill is roughly like $138 per month, and that's what we're paying Comcast to hold that. Office supplies is at $3,100. This is for printer, shredder, TV mounts, TV, SD cards, and we've got to put down thumb drives too. So if someone wanted a thumb drive from a previous meeting on YouTube, we would have to pull that down, put it on a thumb drive. Line 5730, dues and subscriptions. We're planning to revisit additional program outlets, mass access, subscription, and other local pay access. In addition, editing software we're looking at, right now we have Final Cut, but we might go to Adobe Premiere in the near future. 5870, replacement equipment. Basically, we're gonna go to town hall with a warrant with that. But right now, we got 2 Mac stations that are pretty much almost outdated. They can't take any more, we can't update the security on that. That worries me in a way, because if we can't put the security on these machines and somehow we get hacked, we don't want the whole town to get hacked. So it's very important to keep these machines updated at all times. I think that's about it. Yes, sir.
In taking a look at equipment repair and maintenance, you, in fiscal year '23, your department requested $5,000. As of 12/31/22, you spent $38. Yet going forward, you want to double that. What equipment are you planning on buying this year?
Well, the thing I'm worried about right now is that server is getting over 5 years old. So that sort of like brought that, the cost up on that, because the server for something like that, we're probably looking at, I'm guessing, probably maybe over $13,000 when we have to replace it. Right now, we sort of got a repair warning on it just to keep an eye on it.
So with that being said, if you don't spend this line item, it goes to free cash, is that correct?
No, let me correct that. So our funding comes from Comcast, so basically, when we have our subscribers in the Dayton area, if they pay like this, there's a certain amount that goes to Comcast.
5%.
I think we got Laura, hello?
Hi, it's me. 5% of anybody who has Comcast on their bill, 5% goes into our PEG access account. So we're funded strictly through our PEG access account, which is currently up to $220,000. So that's, if we don't spend our budget, our money goes back into that PEG access account. And that's also where our budget gets pulled out of.
And that gift account pays for the equipment, salaries and everything, so we really don't depend on the town for any money right now, because that account's taking care of everything. So any free cash, or we overblown the budget, we have a lot left over, like you said, just goes back into that PEG account again.
How much money is in that PEG account?
Last we looked with Serena, I want to say that was at the end of last year, it was $220,000. But I'm sure Serena might have a more updated number on that account. We just did not have that in time for this meeting tonight.
Thank you very much.
So.
And we get quarterly, oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna ask, why up your repair and maintenance budget and not just replace the server if you have?
Well, because the server, we have a company, I'm trying to think of their name right now, they're out of Brockton, we use them quite a bit. And he told me pretty much if we can get a couple more years out of it, so we're still staying within the safe zone, but we just put a warning on the server. I mean, I work for the federal government where I got feds buying servers every other week, and I die as a taxpayer, like, here's my money going for a server that's not needed. We treat this fund like the Dayton's people account. We don't want to just stop buying things left and right and not use it. So we're just trying to get the miles out of this server, till it comes to the point where, okay, now we gotta replace it.
Right, and I guess my thought is if you think it's gonna last 2 or 3 years, right, and you're budgeting, or the thought process or your quote said it was like $5,000 per repair.
Right.
You know, if that's gonna happen FY '24 and then FY '25 and then FY '26, say it's the same amount of repairs to get it to that third year, and a server's $13,000. That's 15 versus 13, you're saving money by just buying a new server.
Yeah, but we're right now, the repairs are lower on it right now, so we're just trying, eventually it's gonna get replaced. I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, I think
too.
like long term, it might actually save money, right,
Yeah.
for a 3-year span,
Right.
as opposed to, year over year.
And if I can chime in, there was a discussion with our board meet, Dave and Dalton. We were really hoping maybe next year in our budget, we weren't ready to really dive into an entirely new server this coming fiscal year. But likely next fiscal year, you'll probably see a large increase because of us wanting to replace that server.
Okay.
Chip?
So if that server unfortunately happens to stop working during this fiscal year or FY '24, you only budgeted 10,000, yet it costs 13, what's the process to get the additional funds appropriated?
We're probably, if I'm right, maybe you can let me know, Mike Will, I think we have to get a special warrant. But the thing is, it won't cost the people any money, it's just basically giving us the okay to take that money out of the gift account.
So we could be down if you don't have the appropriation.
We could be, it's true on that. I'm playing I'm shooting the dice with this server, it's been good to us so far, but I know it's getting up there.
So if it's the end of its lifespan, then why aren't we appropriating the amount of money needed to replace it?
When I talked to Orcas, to Gary Pink, he told me I had at least a couple more years on it to let it go for now. Because he sees servers go longer than that, but I don't wanna take it to the 7-year level, and then all of a sudden, so.
Like, logistics. I know we wouldn't want to transfer that out of the reserve fund, but does the finance committee have the ability to transfer out of the PEG fund? If something like that happened and we wouldn't want to wait until a special town meeting or an annual town meeting.
So are you suggesting we should budget to have it in there in the event something were to happen and maybe keep that in there each fiscal year going forward as like a safe bet, because in reality, it would just go back into our account if we don't use it?
Maybe.
Hey,
The ability to make that transfer.
I know some towns, I talked to other PEG cables, like some towns, they just go through the immediate board, like Board of Selectmen, say, hey, we're gonna have to buy a server. And then they just let finance know, and it's no like voting, but every town's different with their cable company. So for us, it would be back to you guys on this.
I'll have to research it.
Okay.
Hey, Pete, this is Robert. First off, I don't believe this belongs in the operating budget. It is a capital outlay if we're talking about $13,000. And we shouldn't be carrying it from year to year.
Server, but 10,000 for maintenance would be operational. It's when we get to a new server, I agree with you, it's a capital item.
Yes. What I could do, and meanwhile though, I could look up what it's gonna cost for that server so we can get ready. I'll contact the Orcas company, talk to Gary again and say, hey, how much is it gonna cost for the server at this present time? They'll give us an idea.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we'll find out the logistics on what would happen during the year if something were, if the server were to crash.
It would be nice to know that we can get that money like a lot quicker than going through the steps, you know?
So look, and to that point, as you will see in the note, in what originally was 5870, was gonna be a replacement equipment line item. Based on the capital, triggering capital, we asked cable to submit a warrant article. And maybe based on this discussion, maybe we increase that warrant article to include a $13,000 figure. An article can live on for 3 years, so that the funding will be appropriated for the next 3 years to be there, if and when that needs to be replaced.
Yeah, Dave, so if that gets approved, you don't have to go out and spend it, but it's available for you if you need it.
No, that'd be great, we like that, then we don't have to wait so long, because a lot of people look forward to, having Channel 9 up and running. What I'll do is, I'll definitely check, and make sure I'm correct on the price, what he gives me for a new server for a replacement and labor, and try to get close to that. Because I could be off on this $13,000.
Yeah.
And then, Mike, if you're able to follow up with us about the steps, since we already submitted our warrant article, how we go about editing that to include that price that we get a nailed down number once we get that new quote. Because their quotes are only active for 30 days and then they expire. So we'll have to definitely get a new quote and then add that into the warrant.
Yes, and Robert, we'll add that to the capital list as well, because I know you probably have that as a burning question.
Thank you.
He's quiet.
Is he on the finance project?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And capital too.
Oh, okay.
Don't put the money after that.
Yeah. Any other questions, sir?
No.
No.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, guys, I appreciate it, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
All right, moderator, we shoot back to the beginning. 114. Yeah. Settings. Well, actually. Yeah, Mike.
Historically, the moderator themselves have not actually, yet submitted a budget for the $500.
Not since,
Oh, yes.
Bill McKeon, he's received his 2%.
Okay.
But since Mr. McKeon left, then it's been level funded.
Okay, gotcha.
Any questions on 114? Finance? 132, 131, 132? Oh, that's sure, okay. So for anyone who doesn't know, we are part of the Mass Municipal.
So the town belongs to the MMA, but the
Association.
But the FinCom Association is actually the AFTC.
Okay.
Don't ask me what that acronym means.
Well, I've been to MMA classes.
Yeah, yes, but the technical name of the association is the AFTC.
Okay. So letters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the state does offer, or the groups do offer classes, so anybody can go to any municipal finance classes if you wanna spend a Saturday.
There you go.
And the cost, I believe, is typically zero, so it's already included in our dues, and then you do get reimbursed for travel. So we've left that in there as zero. I think I was probably the last person on the finance committee to actually go to a meeting, and that must have been, I don't know, 2009?
Yeah. But it's good for anybody that's on.
Yeah, but it was informative.
Helpful.
The reserve fund?
In the reserve fund, we raised it last year at 55 based on possible need for additional legal fees. And with what's coming through, it makes sense, I would say, to keep it there.
Keep it. Yep. No substitute.
Thankfully, we've only used 5 so far this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any questions on either of those?
No.
Okay. Which is pretty amazing.
But I just need to add one extra thing, like I just actually noticed, like in the agendas, and kind of bring it full circle, and we do have a Mr. Robert Woods on the line. One thing going through everything tonight that I realized we never actually included as an agenda item is actually sewer. We do have a sewer, an enterprise fund that funds sewer, but in my opinion, the budget is fairly straightforward. But I do think as we go, continue on in the process, like I think we would be helpful either individually or together to set up something with sewer. And then in addition to that, in addition to sewer, the budgets, we're still in these latter budgets, they're smaller, but we do have the harbor master, within the PD to also have discussion about, we have the harbor master, we have the agricultural commission, and we have the commission on disability. Those are the three with, the with sewer that like still out there. In my opinion, they are smaller, with the exception of sewer. So I think we have the ability to, figure that out as we go. I really don't think we need a whole other joint meeting to deal with that. But I just wanted to remind everyone about the remaining issues out there. And we will, based on what the assessor, also mentioned, we will be updating, that overlay number as well, based on what was discussed. We do expect at this point, the $100,000 projection for snow and ice that may be either just there or maybe like a little, maybe like a little conservative. We do typically replenish the road salt before we end the year. So as we go forward, we already have that in reserve. And I just wanna, the only caution I just wanna make sure where highway is with the inventory, that's not gonna throw us up over the 100. But it's a significant savings of about $124,000 from where we were this time last year, so. Yeah.
Except for those dirt roads.
Yeah, exactly, right.
On the 4 to 3, we're.
Tom's still here, I'm sorry.
We're in negative 46,626.39. We already replaced all the salt. This time I don't expect any other expenses.
I'm sorry, I couldn't see past Peter, Tom, jeez, sorry.
Does someone talk about the Berkeley Bridge?
And Thomas, we just mentioned too, the Berkeley Bridge is another minor detail budget we didn't discuss. Do you want to discuss that?
So I guess it's in limbo, who's really regulating that. There is a budget line, on the account number, it might not be represented correctly. There are some annual charges, maintenance, mainly electrical. Electrical services on our side, the poles, as you know, need to be maintained. But I recommend it with 1,500 on that.
1,000.
1,000? Oh, Michael's fingers on that, that's right.
Is that for the light cost or for the maintenance?
That's for maintenance,
Any questions on that? Just, for planning, this was the last joint meeting plan proposed. My expectation was we wouldn't meet again until after April 15th.
Yeah, I think we were operating under the same.
Okay.
The schedule. Yeah, probably actually, what we were anticipating, was that both boards would do really whatever, they decided to do in the month of April, and then we reconvene at the end of April, at the beginning of May to finalize the recommendations and to finalize everything going so we can finalize the warrant. With all the article recommendations, with all the warrant article recommendations as well.
When will the articles be, when would they be ready for?
The articles need to be submitted by April 12th. So that's why we're already active with the capital outlay and the capital planning request and those recommendations as well. So one article is due by the 12th. I anticipate the Board of Selectmen meeting on the 26th of April. That would likely be a meeting where the board would decide everything on the warrant. And I get to Robert's point a few weeks ago. So when we reconvene, that would bring us to a place that so that the draft warrant, everything that was on the warrant would be there and in place for the recommendations to be made. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so after the 26th.
After the 26th.
Okay. So should we shoot for 27th? May 2nd, May 4th?
27.
And then May 2nd and May 4th.
That sounds.
That's enough time for you guys to.
Yeah, that's actually ideal. Well, last year we went right to the wire. So, that still leaves us room if we need to. That works very well.
Does that work for everybody?
May 2nd and the 5th?
4th.
Or the 4th rather? Yeah, the 2nd I won't be here, but that's okay. That'd be good enough numbers.
So April 27th, the 2nd and the 4th.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Oh, April 27th too?
yeah, that'll be good.
April 27th too?
Just from a process question. Only quick question. When both groups do reconvene, will the expectation be, I'm just asking that question out loud, will the expectation be that both groups have already made initial recommendations? So, and then when we do reconvene, we reconcile any differences. And strictly just reconcile the differences that exist. Okay. So that means the FinCom will need to meet at least once before the 27th, or would the 27th be that meeting for you guys?
I would assume that would be our first, because we wouldn't want to meet before the warrant is fairly closed, and we wouldn't talk about anything that might still be open at that point, right?
I'm just thinking the departmental budget recommendations.
You wouldn't wanna meet before that to discuss those?
Yeah, what we're gonna do for our recommendations, what we're gonna recommend.
That's going to take you all night.
We could, if you guys want to meet on the 25th.
Okay, it's fine.
How close are we?
Fairly close, right?
Fairly close?
How close? You define fairly close.
We're further away than last year, but.
So what do you feel the numbers are?
Well, right now with everything, we would have an excess levy capacity of 195.
Okay, so we can manage that on a night, right?
Yeah.
That's gonna be fairly simple. We'll take blocks again, like we've done in the past.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we only need one day before we get together.
Yeah, we would need one meeting.
Yeah, I think we can do that at one meeting. So do we need to do it before the 27th, Mike? Or if we do it on the 27th?
What does the 27th become that meeting for
That would be that meeting, I would imagine, right, Pete?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then both groups will then reconvene on the second and the fourth to finalize it.
Yeah, I think that would be reasonable, right?
Yeah, but that I can make.
Yeah, that would
logical
work.
sense.
Yeah, because if we're at that point, we should be okay.
Yeah.
The only thing we didn't discuss is special articles. Are there many
So
special?
that's the 26th bill.
Right, is there a lot of money in there too?
Right now, we have a free cash flow back of 515,000. 514,000.
Okay.
Sorry. And
She's the accountant, man.
yeah, I'm just gonna shut up. Yeah.
So,
It's good. They have until April 12th to put in requests.
right, well, that'll be fine then.
Yeah.
We can talk about it then. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I think that'll work.
Robert, make sense?
Yeah, I'm on board with that approach.
April 27th will be the action.
Alright. So, no other questions or comments or take a motion over there?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion made second, all in favor, Mr. Chico? Mr. Kennedy? Chairman Hull.
Time is now
Have a good night.
9:04.